Rest my case, folks. You got a choice there.
You got a choice.
You heard the rabbi.
You got your choice. You can either accept what I'm saying, which is basic principles of Judaism, the basic tenets. I would call this Judaism 101. This is nothing. I didn't bring out anything special. The big guns, or anybody out there can look it up. I brought out the Shulchan Aruch. I brought out the Mishnah. I brought out the Mishnah Berurah. This is the basic foundations of Judaism. Or you can choose Levi, who's following a radio talk show host who doesn't even buy any of this and just makes up his own stuff, whatever feels right. And a whole bunch of nameless people I won't even bring up who would fall under the category of Amharatzim and heresy and heretics. So, I mean, you have your choice for you. Judaism versus stupidity and heresy. It's very simple.
Fine by me.
I told you I was going to hand you your ass tonight. I said you're going down.
I'll let the people decide.
Let the people decide.
Let the people decide. Hey, sports fans, so we've got the Miami Heat taking on the Chicago Bulls.
Now let's talk about something important, for Christ's sake.
And it looks to me like the Heat are the best team left in the NBA playoffs.
Want one of these?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm taking one of these.
So I was shocked that the Bulls just wiped them out last night.
Really?
And so you told me before the show you expect Chicago to win in 5 games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wrote a note. You read my note, right? Last week.
Maybe, I don't remember.
Okay, because I said that last year, I said that the team of the future is Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. You know, and I said that.
Yeah. I said on the Lakers. Yeah,
I said that last. I said at the end of last season, I said, okay, the Lakers are going to three-peat. The only team I'm worried about is Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. And I predicted Oklahoma City is going to have a better record than LA, and LA will come in second in the conference, and that they'll meet in the finals, and LA is going to win it. But I was wrong about LA because we talked about this last week. Yeah. What happened? We don't need to repeat it. But there's no reason for me to think anything other than Oklahoma, and I was right. I mean, look how close it is. Oklahoma is in the finals. They're playing Dallas, right? Dallas is nobody. Who did Dallas beat? To get there, they just beat LA. So I was very, very close to pulling that completely off, right? Oklahoma City is the best team out there. I'm not going to say that Chicago's far behind them. Chicago surprised me how great they are. They have the best record in the league this year.
Yeah.
Miami, the Miami hype, the people call them the Heat, I call them the hype. Nobody gets more exposure for doing nothing than Miami. They've won nothing. Chicago kicked their ass this year. Hey, Jay Kleidman's in there. Hey, buddy, there's my nephew. Chicago last year finished in the regular season like 7th or 8th in the conference. And Atlanta, I'm sorry, Miami finished 5th. Miami finished 5th. They both went out in the first round. This year, Chicago leapfrogged into 1st from 8th. Miami moved up a couple spots, right? Chicago went all the way to the top. Why are people talking about Miami? Chicago killed them in the offseason. Chicago went out and brought in Boozer and Korver. They already had Noah and Derrick Rose. They're solid. I'd much rather have any of those guys than anybody who's on Miami. Miami has 2 guys who are so overhyped, and I can't stand. Dwayne Wade is good. He's a good ball player.
Yeah.
I think LeBron, what's the guy's name?
LeBron James.
Is the most overrated, overhyped, do nothing. He's like the
Brett
Favre of basketball, but Brett Favre at least won one time. Albeit he only won a Super Bowl once in 20 years. This is LeBron's 8th year. He's still not going to have anything on his fingers. Right? This is embarrassing. For the amount of exposure, that guy has nothing. He's been on 2 teams, and he's a total failure, and he's going down in 5. I watched that game yesterday. Oh my God. They've got 3 guys who can play in the NBA. They stuffed them with money. They had no money left. They have nobody else who can help out. They got what, like Bibby, who's like 40, right? They've got nothing on the bench. Nobody. You could play on their bench. Chicago is deep. They got like a whole bench. They got like Taj Gibson. They've got like all these guys. Oh my God. They have Korver and Gibson. They coming off the bench. When you play with bench, that's when the lead goes ballooning. when at starters, for Miami to win, they would have to be up by 30 when they go to the bench. Because Chicago's going to kill them. Chicago's bench is deep, and Miami has no bench. Miami only has 2 guys who can play. This is a classic example of 2 guys against a team. And what you saw yesterday should be what you see every time. Miami has no chance of ever winning a game in Chicago. I will say they could get lucky one time at home, and Wade shoots the lights out on his own, and I'll give them that. And they'll win one at home. There is no way. This game could go 100 games. They will never win in Chicago because they don't have the talent and the depth to do it. And that's what I have to say.
Okay, so before we go into the Parashat...
Can I just make my other one?
Yeah.
Oklahoma City in 6. What's the other? Chicago in 5. And I'm not sure... I said that Oklahoma City is a team of the future, so I'm going to take Oklahoma City in the finals. I'm not sure yet how many games they're going to take to do it. It may go 7. Those guys may go 7. What do you say?
I don't have any...
You want to put money down on it? you're in the 12 steps. Okay, go ahead.
So we were going to talk about Iowa and agro-processors.
Oh, right.
And this yoga cult.
Oh, yes.
3 hours drive away from agro-processors. And why did basically Rabbi Shalom Rubashkin get 27 years in prison when the average murderer serves about 12 years in prison for committing murder? So why is Shalom Rubashkin, a Chabad Jew, getting more than twice the average sentence served by a murderer for basically some white-collar convictions?
Well put. I want to say that since the last time that we had our show, somebody contacted me, one of our viewers, and they said they're interested about this. That you just gave it away. About in Iowa, there's a city called Maharishi Vedic City. You know anything about this? About
a little bit.
This is the TM guy.
Yeah, Transcendental Meditation.
And they opened up like their own. It's like a cult based on the Hindu, the yoga stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like an offshoot. It's a culty thing, and they opened up and they got their own city.
Yeah.
And it's down in Iowa, of all the places. And lo and behold, agri-processors, which had a whole Hasidic community, was up in a place called Pottsville, I think. Postville, you know the place. You've been there all the time. Chicks run wild in that town, right?
I've interviewed a lot of people who've written on this story.
Oh, okay. So it's like you said, it's like a 3-hour drive away. What could possibly be the connection? Well, according to this one viewer, they think that the connection is that many of the graduates from the schooling system down in that
Iowa.
Down in that culty
community,
cult set town, they end up being people with influence in the government, whether they're financial contributors or they are have political figures themselves, appointees, or people who are elected. They have some power and some clout, and their thing is they are vegetarians.
Yeah.
And they don't want any
animal sacrifice.
Animals slaughtered in Iowa, which is a big agriculture thing. Now, I found something that was interesting as I was researching on the internet at the library when you walked in and said hello, and I got in trouble.
Because Rab sends around a booming voice, and suddenly everyone gets shh.
Because I'm like concentrating, I'm like focused. You come and you go Rabs, and I go hey, and everybody goes like shut up. You did it twice to me.
Yeah, twice. And I did it like a friend, like at my therapy center. Like I have a friend who goes at the same time I do, and he's always on his cell phone. Like we're all sitting in the therapy waiting room getting ready for our therapy. Like it should be quiet, sacred space. So he's there like making deals on his cell phone. And like, so I Facebooked him. I said, hey, this needs to be quiet, sacred space. Could you take your calls outside? Like he gave me like 5 big paragraphs explaining why he didn't want to take his calls outside. But, okay.
I hate it when they're in the library and they're going like, ching chong, ling long, ting tong. Okay, so we did that. Now, attorneys, teachers, politicians who are vegetarian, they want to protect the rights of animals in Iowa, right? And I looked,